Bob, I turned up the volume a little bit. I turned down the track and turned up the volume on OBS. I got a couple comments that my voice was too quiet last week or 2 weeks ago. So it's always a game. Hey, Holly, welcome back. Hey, it's always kind of a game of inches here, trying to figure out exactly how to set this without getting distortion. So, Dennis, well, look at all the look at all the admins. Voice is okay? Okay, thanks. Oh, you do? Yeah. Someday I'm going to probably figure out, no promises, figure out how to run. So I don't want to have a microphone here. You know how everybody has those Shure SM7s? Like, that's the industry standard. They're not expensive mics. I mean, I think you can, it's a good mic. I've wanted to get one. I did get a lapel mic recently, but I need to find an extension cord on it for it because so I'm not, it's so frustrating. I thought it was going to have a long cable on it. It didn't. So it was supposed to go to a pack, and I don't want to go to a pack. Because then you have to have a receiver, and a transmitter, and all that stuff, and that's, you know, another few $100, and I just want to get to my camera. That's all I want to do. So, and I did figure out that indeed my camera, which I've had for 5 years, and it totally makes sense, is completely HD. I had my settings set to kind of automatic, just like auto white focus, auto focus, all that stuff was automatic. And when you're set in that mode, it didn't give you the HD option for filming, and so, or the 4K, I should say. And the reason I need to record in 4K is if you look at, see, this is a fairly good illustration of it. Okay, so 4K, if I film this frame in 4K, then I have 4 quadrants of 1080. And it doesn't necessarily, okay, sorry, email. So, and it could be any 1/4 of it, but I would probably, well, I don't have to take a quarter. If I take more than a quarter of that 4K, it'll be more than 1080p. So it would be a little bit better quality. But 1080p is pretty good quality unless you're putting my videos up on a giant TV screen. So the cool thing is that I can do a close-up of my right. I can bring my right hand up and make it full screen. I can bring my left hand up and make it full screen, and it'll be 1080p, which is awesome. So my only concern is I think autofocus will still work. I think a lot of stuff still works. I have to futz with the settings a little bit, and maybe make notes, and then really try to set it up so my studio, however I'm filming, is going to be the same. Now, when I do YouTube videos, it could be different. I haven't done any videos outside in a long time. When I was doing my series on, I don't know if any of you ever watched any of it, but it was hugely unpopular on the business of making music. And I was just trying to give away the secret stuff I wish I'd known when I was 25 that I didn't learn until I was 45 or older. I would shoot those I did a lot of those on location. Like, for example, when I was talking about should you go to college, I was on the campus of Caltech in Pasadena because it was just down the street from where we lived. And so that kind of thing, I tried to kind of make it, and then I went to another college campus to do one. It was called, I think it was called Be Your Own College. And so, yeah, I like doing those. And for the most part, those are super easy to edit because it's just me talking to the camera. I might do some of those. About how, my career, because people always want to know, well, I want to do what you do. And I'm like, well, there is no one path. And the best path is your path because it's the one that's going to make it the most sustainable. If you try to take someone else's path and pretend to be somebody else, or however you want to look at that, you're not going to be able to keep that facade up. You're not going to be able to keep, lying about that. And why is the end of this look weird? I don't know. Anyway, okay. So we've been working on grooving, and one of the things was, kind of funk or electric guitar grooving. This obviously could be done on acoustic guitar. Generally, whenever we do any of these grooves that I'm talking about where we have dead strings, we're going to probably want to use bar chords, or at least chords that don't have any open strings. You can do a lot of things with. It's just difficult to. You get a lot of ringy strings if you play open strings. So, hey Sam, what's going on? All right, so let's see. Morning, everybody. 6-9 saw you. Not many people on yet this morning. Sam is in the house. Don't worry about it, Holly. Yeah, no, the handyman thing. Yeah, I was the handyman yesterday. I had the weirdest door squeak. Like when I would shut the closet door, the coat closet door by the front door, it would offer resistance, right? Like the door was hitting the front. And Alex and I, so that door has almost no clearance off the floor. And yet all the bedroom doors have, like, all the doors in here, they all have like this inch clearance. Like, what did they have? Carpet throughout? I don't know. Maybe they did. It's beautiful hardwood floors in here. You can see them behind me. Why would you ever put carpet on those beautiful floors? But that's just me. So we were swapping out doors, trying to get a door with higher, just in that closet door, because I have an oriental rug there in the front entry that would always get pushed aside when you open that closet door. And it's like, I want it to be higher. So none of the doors fit. I had no idea. I had no idea that doors were so custom. Like the hinge mounts were in the different places, or the shape of the door. It's like, we measured the doors. We didn't take a door that we didn't measure to be the same size, but for some reason, none of them fit. So after Alex and I put everything back the way it was, Alex, my son, the closet door has always done this weird squeak. Like it's like you have to force it closed, and it's it was sounded like wood on wood, right? And I'm looking at it. It looks like there's plenty of gap on the side and on the top. And on the hinge side, I'm like, well, it can't be there. So I put a piece of paper up on the top, and I shut it, and I pulled the paper out, and it came right out. So there's no, on the side I can see it's clear, but I went ahead and sanded it. I'm on the top thinking maybe it's hitting somewhere, and nothing changed. And then I looked, and there, like, if I look at the hinge side, there was a gap about that big at the top and almost no gap at the bottom. But because the closet's in kind of this little cubby area, I couldn't really tell where the sound was coming from. It just came from the door because it was vibrating. And yes, the wood frame definitely. I don't know if it bowed. I don't know if this little addition to the front of my house, was an addition. Like if the front door was originally facing straight out, and then they added this little like, kind of like almost like a boot room, like you would have in Canada or something, in Michigan, where now the door is facing across the house. No, there's been no Chinese owners of this house, and I say that because a lot of times Chinese, because of the was it feng shui? What's that called? Feng shui. They won't buy a house where the door is on the front. It has to be on the side. So a lot of people in like San Marino, where the big market is Chinese people moving to California, they'll reposition their front door, and they'll build these little like add-ons. And I think that this was add-on was maybe, or this was an add-on at some point, and it settled, or they didn't put enough whatever in the concrete beneath, and it twisted that door frame a little bit. I don't know that it's warped. It seems more like it's twisted. So I took the screws out on the top hinge and on the door, and actually the screws would turn and just keep turning. They wouldn't stop turning. So I'm like, okay, these screws aren't good. I put better screws in there, actually lifted the door up. I didn't even have to unscrew the other hinges. I just lifted the door up using shims. And then I screwed it on tighter and with different screws, and no noise. Seriously, I really don't even know how the noise. It was totally making it sound like you're pushing wood against wood. It's like that. So somewhere down there on the particular, maybe on the lower hinge, it was making this noise. It just didn't sound like a hinge noise. Yeah, it's just replacing door. It's just like, dang, doors are very specific to their frame. All our doors work. This door here, I think it's latched and then slowly opens up. So I have to be careful. I try to push it. It doesn't want to push. Now I do also have little felt pads up there so doors don't slam. So it's just makes it quieter when you're coming and going. If you're closing and opening doors. So anyway, pro tip. Sorry, total tangent. So many people don't care. Hey, John, what's going on? You're catching a few minutes of talking about door noise. I should have sampled it. It was actually kind of a cool noise. But yeah, so again, when I wrote this up here, originally I wrote E9 as being F sharp 9. And then I thought, you're right, it's wrong. Who pointed it out? It was funny. Who pointed it out last week? And then I changed it, and I changed it to F9. Like, that's E9. I was like, So I think you guys will know if I'm either having a stroke or have Alzheimer's. So you can call 911. Well, I guess Alzheimer's would be a different call, but stroke would be 911. Just give them my name. Los Angeles, they'll find me. I'm the only Tom Strahle in Los Angeles. So, if I take a sip of coffee and the water, it just goes down my chin like that. You probably know I'm having a stroke. Okay, but yeah. So the reason I chose the E9 chord again is just so it's easy to mute. You could do like an E11. So this would be an E11. Check this out. It's just 7, 7, 7, 7, 7. Nothing on the bottom, or you can hit the bottom. And it's kind of an E11. And if you're wondering what it means to be an E, did I move this? I did move this. Sorry. There we go. If you're wondering what E9 is, so E9 is a dominant chord. That means it has a dominant seventh, not a major seventh. So it has a D in it, not a D major. That's totally different chord. It's a pretty chord, but it's a different chord. So that's E major 7, and this is E7. So, and sometimes they call it E dominant 7. We used to write E DOM 7, but they just shorthanded it to E7. E major 7, you can write MAJ. I do a triangle, and you can make a triangle, I think if you go Option J, creates the delta symbol or a triangle. And then E minor 9 would be, you would use a little m for that. I mean, I've seen min, but that's at like way overkill. But I think sometimes copyists will put EMIN7 for E minor 7 because they think if you put a little m, sometimes they would put a little m and you go, oh, that means major. And it's like, no. And some people will put a capital M for major, like this. Like, I mean, like I said, I've seen it, E major 7 written this way. Let's see if I can do a delta here, if it will do it. 7, yep. And also this way, but this is less common with a capital M. And thusly E major 9 would be written, could be written that way too. Hey, Manny Vibes, what's going on? Hey, Wendy. Hit that like button. Smash that like button. Not too hard. I don't want you to break your computer. Hey, Jan's in the house too. Well, people are starting to show up. We got 18. Nice. Those are all legit. You know, I like the triangle. The capital M, the only problem with the capital M is some people might read that as minor, especially depending on your penmanship. But the triangle for me is just like the fastest. But E dominant 7 got shorthanded to just E7. Because for one thing, Dom could look like diminished. And again, that would be written E. And if you want the 0, I mean, is that right? E diminished 7. You do option 0, and you should get a degree sign. So that's for E diminished 7. Well, so E9, because it doesn't say major in it, is a dominant thing. And so the one I tell people, it's E every other letter to the 9th. So it's E is the root. Then the 3rd is G sharp. The 5th, so it's 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. And what are those notes? Well, it's E, G sharp, B, D, and F sharp. And so this note here, there's your F sharp. This is a really good voicing for a lot of things. What? The end of finale. Oh no. Oh. Okay. Wow. That's a bummer. I need to maybe get a different software. The Finale, which is the software I use to create all this stuff, is no longer. I just got a letter saying it's no longer. That's a bummer. But the nice thing about this voicing is the top 4 strings has all of those notes except the root. Oh, the root is right here. But like we got the G sharp, which is the 3rd. We got the D, which is the 7th. The F sharp, which is the 9th. And then the B. How much is Sibelius? Maybe I'll buy Sibelius. Sibelius. Is that how you spell it? Yeah. Oh, it's Avid. Interesting. How much? Okay, agree. If it's monthly, yeah. Annual subscription. I don't want subscription. It's like $200 a year. Really? That's unbelievable. Yeah. I've got a bunch of Finale stuff that I... Teams. No. Can I own it? I can't own it. All right. Well, I'm going to have to find another software program to use. I don't really need a really complex one. I need to be able to do lead sheets. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. They want consistent. I understand the subscription. In fact, I'm in the middle of trying to decide what I'm going to do. The problem with the subscription thing is you really have to... the option key? I guess it's the Alt key, Sam. I'm a Mac user. It's called Option on Mac, but it has little Alt right there. So try... Yeah, that's because the band Alt-J, which is Delta. So their band's called Delta, but they're called Alt-J. but yeah, that is so. I'm thinking about creating. I'm thinking about creating this guitar program, and I kind of want to just make it a program you buy and that's it. And that way I don't have to do any babysitting on it. My friend Sad Haddad, he's doing it through Skool, Skool. He's doing something called the Composer's Brain. You can sign up for free on it. I can give you a link. And there's a lot of lessons you can take for free about composing classical music. And he, I should probably view all the lessons. He gave me a free membership. So I just spoke to it a couple weeks ago. It was funny, yeah, because that was on Sunday. It was a couple weeks ago, and it was Sunday, and I was like, almost forgot to do Monday because I felt like I'd already done it on Sunday. So, but the problem with the subscription thing, I feel like he does, I think 3 hours a week of Zoom. As part of the subscription. His subscription is like $80 a month. So that means 3 times a week I've got to log in. He's got a lot more regular hours than I have. My hours are not so regular because he's a professor at Columbia. But he, and I think he charged, it's weird because I think he said, we were just talking about this. He said he charges $79, but it'll go up and it will max out at $129 a month. It'll go up as he gets more subscribers. And I'm like, well, that's kind of weird. It should do the opposite. But some reason people know that it's going to go up when they sign up. And he does, and then he has like content. He does a lot of stuff. It's the Skool thing, Skool, does have a lot of options and a lot of features. And then he showed me, like, he was really upfront with me, showing me all the ad stuff and how, it's costs him basically 27 cents to get a new subscriber, a free subscriber, but those transfer to paid subscribers at a rate of it was a pretty high rate, not like 50%, but like 7% or something. And so if he gets 1,000 free a month, he's going to get 70 paid. And then when you look at the numbers, you're like, he ran the numbers and it's like, whoa, it's going to, a year from now, it could be X, Y, or Z. And that's why he's like, you should do the monthly. I think you do really well. And my potential viewership is much larger. Basically, my viewership is anyone who's never picked up a guitar is what I would be teaching on. So, but the nice thing is through this, I would be able to use songs as examples and teach songs that I wouldn't necessarily be able to do. So, John, have you decided on how do you decide on which 7th chord extensions to use when playing versions of? It's dealer's choice. It's just there is no. Now, if you want to sound like James Brown, you might want to pull out the 9th chord. If you want to sound more like Bo Diddley, you probably use more of a 7th chord. And then you can put that 13th in there. It's all just dealer choice. The 11 is a little bit, the 11 chord is a different use. And usually on guitar, an 11 chord is played as a triad with the 9th and the bass. All right. So what does that mean? Okay. And I'm going to explain it now. So E11, those are all 11th chords. E11, F sharp 11, G11, A11, E flat 11, C11. That's just an Earth, Wind, and Fire. I'm just going up by a diminished scale with the roots going up. So if I look at this E11, it's basically a little D triad, a little out of tune D triad with a E in the bass. All right. Well, why do I call that the 9th? Actually, so you could call it, so root inversion is with the root in the bass. First inversion, root inversion would be that. First inversion would be the 3rd is in the bass. Second inversion would be the 5th in the bass. Third inversion would be the 7th in the bass. And 4th inversion would be the 9th in the bass. So technically, on a music theory class, you could say, oh, these are 4th inversion chords. So the thing about that, so if I'm thinking of this as an E chord, the D triad is the dominant, the 7th, the 9th, and the 11th. They're right there. So when you take the 7th, 9th, and 11th, you create a major triad. And you put E in the bass. The only thing, the only note that you really might need also, besides this, you don't really need the 5th, but you could do that if you went here. Remember, I always say, if you've got, an 11th chord technically would have, I could just play like an E, an E. Technically, that's a proper 11th chord, but nobody ever plays it that way. They start eliminating notes to get the sound. And you can get rid of the 5th. But it's a little hard to get that G sharp in there, and still, I guess I'm actually literally playing the 5th fret of the 1st string with the side of my index finger. So if you play the E9 chord with 4 fingers and then lay your index finger down, I don't know that I would ever use that voicing. People expect to hear this voicing. But I don't feel like the 11th chord is very funky or jazzy. It's kind of jazzy, but it's not super funky or rootsy. And so it kind of usually is relegated to horn sounding like Earth and Fire, for me anyway. But yeah, so basically the way that would be you could say that's a 9th inversion chord. A 4th inversion chord is if we look at D7, which again wouldn't be the best way to look at it, but D7 you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And the 9th note in the D scale, D mixolydian scale, is E. Knock it down an octave, there you go, E11. So anyway, yeah, do it for slide playing. Yeah, you could definitely use. There are 11th chords all over the neck when you play slide. Yep, super, and it's a nice chord, and if you're doing some kind of like. You're doing that kind of, what's a Doobie Brothers song? I can't think of what it's called. It's actually, I don't want to do too much of it or I'll probably get a copyright strike. But if you think about it, that's a G minor 7 chord that you're landing on eventually. But you're starting on a G11 chord if you want to think of it that way. If you were to notate it, you could put G11, G minor 7. But anyway, and an 11th chord is a totally fine one to use for practicing with this. I don't know if you can hear that. So that's this one here, okay? Now I'm going to play this one. So I'm going to play, it's this one and this one are exactly the same, except I'm moving those, the hits over 1/16th note. And out of context, without knowing where one is, they could sound identical. That's why I like to have the drum beat playing, so we know where 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 are. First one. Now I don't need to mute the strings like I'm doing with these 3 fingers here. It's safety. I could just do it with one. The problem with playing this chord in particular, this E11 chord, is that you're right at the 7th fret. So when you think you're muting the string and lifting the finger off of the, you're lifting the strings off the frets, but keeping the finger on the strings. That's how we're doing the mute. So I'm lifting the strings off the frets so they stop ringing, but I'm keeping my finger on the string so it's muted. The problem is at the 7th fret we have a harmonic. So like if I were on this pickup in particular, which I think is a really cool sound in some ways, because you got this kind of B minor 11 chord on top of this. You know, it's the same notes. I don't know why I thought B was, because I think of that. It's the same notes, but just like up an octave. So you're like playing. Somebody would be like, "How did you do that?" Something like that. Like, whoa, that was freaky. Piano players never understand that kind of thing, you know, because they don't get those kind of accidental harmonics and stuff that happen all over the guitar. So I'm laying my fingers down. But if I played this other one here, you know, by itself, you really wouldn't know where one was. Here's that second one. Now, if you want to try to get this down, you can just try to get that first squeeze. Like that. 3, 2, 3, 4. So all I'm doing is playing those first two 16th notes. The dead and this hit on the upstroke. And then try to get the next one. It is weird. I mean, when you get this down and then you move to this, it feels awkward. I was doing it this weekend at church because we had a song that kind of had that feel. And the drummer was playing the first rhythm and I was playing the second rhythm against him. So it was like this ba-da, 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 ba-da. In fact, I have done that where I've taken, see if I can, let me track that. Let me see. No, that's not what I want. I want this. You won't be able to really hear this, I don't think, but let me see if I can do just one bar of it. Way early. I need to do it different. Let's see. We move these. I want 2 bars. I want the same. It's nice to have the drum feel into when you're starting to play. It just makes it easier. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to record this first one, and then I'm going to record the second one on top of it and pan them left and right. And we should get this back and forth thing. We'll see. Best laid plans. All right. So now I go put that over there, put this over here. All right, panning. All right. Record mode. It's over there. All right. Now, I don't know if you can hear this. My time is okay. I mean, it's hard to just drop in for 1 bar, but then, you know, I've done that kind of thing before. It's okay. It's not like super uber cool. But it's something you can experiment with and practice doing if you want. If you've got a garage band or something like that, you can totally record. But so I'm going to do the first one again. Oh, I got to get a guitar sound. Next one. Next one. Kind of cool. I like that one a lot. Next one. That one's hard, but it's cool. This third one here is cool. It's got no. If you'll notice, so again, the way you write music is you do it in groupings, you know, 4/16 notes. You see how everything's groupings of 4/16. So if you look, you can easily see right here beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, and beat 4. Okay, and beat 1, you'll see it's 3 scratches and a hit right before beat 2. And if you go over here, there's also at the end here, there's a hit right before beat 1 on beat 4. So on beat 4, it starts with a hit and then has 2 scratches and it ends with a hit. And so it's basically, you know, it's that. It's kind of like it's actually is the first one. Okay, but the cool thing is you've got 2 spots there where you're anticipating a downbeat. You're anticipating. In fact, if I just did we do that one? Yeah, we did this one. I'm going to have to move one of these. Put this back up here. So this one here is just the anticipation of the downbeats. Okay, you can see three scratches or 3 dead, and then 1 squeeze right before the 2, right before the 3, right before the 4, and again this one is right before the 1. So this would sound like this, and it's a cool. Okay, without the drums. I'm just using my wrist. I'm kind of flicking my wrist, holding my pick. I'm holding my pick very loose. I've said this before. You could totally pull it out of my hand. If I'm going to go to solo, so let me see. It's just so slow. It's hard for me to play that in time. I'm trying to record a track. Let me see. Just a very quiet low E here. Let me do that. It's okay pocket-wise. So I'm using that same rhythm. And again, I gave you some tricks in the last couple weeks on how to kind of extend those hits that are bop, 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 like horn section, right? We could let them ring. I could do a double hit. I could do a triple hit. Okay, those are just some tricks you can use to kind of vary it up so you're not just doing. And you can use those tricks on any of those hits. And you could, of course, move the hits around, and we can move the hits just by 1/16 everything over. But we could also start out with 2 upstrokes. Oh, wait, let's see. What one would you want to do? Oh, I put it away. That's funny. Yeah, so it'd be... I mean, there's no rule that you have to play that groove. You can do any variation, which shows you, and you can change it every bar. Every bar could be a different... You could almost make it a challenge to see if you could play every bar different. But they're basically, you're just creating a rhythm part, and ultimately you want it to work with everyone else around you, what they're doing. Or in the case I just pointed out this weekend, when the drummer was playing that feel, I was playing against it. So, but I was just basically echoing what he was doing, right? But you can also, you don't have to do chords. You could do a single note. So we could just take a... So play the 9th fret of the 3rd string, and that's an E note. And then play it with your 3rd finger so we have the D below it. Okay, so we have that 7th. We're going to try to do that. So we're going to hammer on the 3rd finger on top of the 1st finger. Let me put this away. Right? Oh, wait. And then where did I put the... Okay, here it is. Our 3rd grade teacher used to walk up and down the aisles while we were writing and pull a pencil out of our hand to make sure we were not gripping too tight. Interesting. Yep. And I would have students do that. When I was teaching a lesson, I would say, okay, pull it out, and they'd do it. And it would just like come right out. And the reason you do that, I think, is, for one thing, it's, I don't know, thin picks maybe sound a little bit better for rhythm. I mean, it sounds a little bit like a card and spokes, you know, a baseball card or a playing card and spokes to me. But I like, you don't, if you grip too tight, you're going to snag. You're going to not be able to, and so have a loose grip. And I'm kind of doing a tripod hold, okay? So I've got my 1st finger, you know, and you could do a lot of different things. I got my thumb on the, kind of like that, just basically fat. It's a pretty big pick, okay? If you look at like standard Fender medium, this is a little bit bigger than that. And then, and this is a gravity pick. You can find these below. They're $5 a pop. They're not cheap. They're plastic, but I get the rough edges, so they kind of have a scrapey sound, which I notice a lot more now on old songs back in the day, but from the 50s or 60s and 70s. But then realize that that's how U2's guitar player, shoot, I can't think of his name, The Edge, got it, by using the edge of the pick. By using the backside of a bumpy pick. And these are the actual picks he would use, these. And so it creates you can't really hear it, but in there, why do I feel like, I am panned. Duh. There we go. Oh, what just happened? Oh, okay, sorry. So, now, for this, I'm actually choking down on the pick and holding it tighter. So this would be a different, you wouldn't hold it, you would definitely squeeze down. And when I say I'm using kind of a tripod thing, so the thumb is on the fat of the pick, just basically holding the pick, and then I got my 2nd finger down there, and my index finger kind of more on the edge of the pick, all right? So when you're holding it loose, it's got less places it can fly out of. If I'm gonna hold it like this, with just the back and front like that, then the pick can go this way, and it could go this way, it could go this way, and it could go that way. But if I'm holding it like this, I'm kind of, you know, kind of keeping it from going up, and potentially if I get my 2nd finger far enough down, I could kind of go around the edge there and keep it from going down. And it basically, and I rarely drop it. I don't want to say I never drop it. I'm aware I keep track of how often I drop my pick only because I know, like, okay, if I've got MS or something, I'm so paranoid. If I've got some kind of disease that I suddenly drop things, you know what I mean? Like in the movies, like if somebody, oh, I dropped my glass, you know, oh, she's dead. It's one of those things. Hollywood has totally trained us in this crap. Yeah, it's like in a TV series, right? Like a drama series, and somebody, oh gosh, I dropped my glass. They wouldn't show that if it wasn't relevant, right? I tried to read. I think a tenant left it behind or something. The Da Vinci Code, and I started reading it. Like the first chapter, or something. It was the writer said something like, he entered the room, and in the corner was a baseball bat, and I'm like, all right, you just telegraphed that the baseball bat's coming into play. This is really lame. I hate that kind of stuff. It's like, but that's you know, in a movie, you know, they've got an hour and a half to tell a 7-year story or something, so they kind of got to get to the point, and they got to give you all the clues they can. So if someone drops a glass, you know they're dying of something. It just happened. It's just what it is. So I'm like hyper aware of like, okay, when was the last time I dropped my pick? Has it been more than a month? You know, so now see, you know, it's part of our drinking game though, right? If I drop a pick, we all take a sip. I do play with a thumb pick. I can't really strum with a thumb pick, but you could do. I mean, I could do all of this with the tip of my finger. If I drop my pick, I did. Not this weekend, but last weekend I dropped it. And these things freaking, because when the church has all these blue lights, like a lot of the lights have blue backing and things like, these things freaking glow in the dark. They look like sometimes I'll mess with Alec doing, like it's a satellite. Because these picks glow in the dark. And so it's sitting on the floor glowing in this dark room on the stage. It's sitting on the stage. And all these kids are about to walk right past it, and I was like trying to like see if I can get one of them to hand it to me. But if I drop a pick, then basically I kind of go into flamenco mode. So I'll be like, I'll play like this. So I'm hitting with my fingers and thumbnail. So I'm still getting that sound. So if that's what I was doing, when I dropped the pick, then I can't get the same intensity, I don't think, but it's pretty good. Alex will look over at me and he'll drop the pick again. I'm like, yeah. So he'll sometimes toss me a pick. So then I'll like like that. But it's dangerous to toss me anything because I'm blind in one eye, so I have no depth perception. So you could toss me something and hit me in the face. But yeah, you don't have to use a pick. I'm a big on the pick thing. And so, but when I'm doing this little percolating thing, I call this percolating. I'm choking down on the pick and I'm holding it tight. I'm not holding it loose anymore. And I won't drop a pick doing that. I'll drop a pick playing the rhythm stuff, but I won't drop a pick doing it. So if I go here, you can kind of hear what I might. Yeah, slow this. Let me just for a minute go to a more funky tempo. Let's go to 100 BPM. Okay, so one of the things I did there is, even though it's an E9 chord, right? I might play the G natural instead of a G sharp. See, when I played that G sharp, it just sounded, that's kind of weird sounding. So let me throw this, let's see how that G natural sounds when I add this. Oh, forgot. Let me see if that. Okay, there's that guitar I recorded before. I just sped it up. So here's what's happening there. That G natural shouldn't work because I got a G sharp right here. But think about it. The Hendrix chord. Okay, the Hendrix chord is an E7 sharp 9. Don't let the name freak you out, but here's E9, right? And this is the ninth. That F sharp is a ninth. So technically what's happening is when we go a 7 chord with a sharp 9, we take that 9 and go up a fret, okay? Technically what this is F double sharp, just so you know. But F double sharp is the same as G. Identical note, but on paper, you might, if you were to write out the notes in an E7 sharp 9 chord, you would write E, G sharp, B is the 5th, D is the 7th, and then you might write F double sharp for the, and the way you write a double sharp is an X with dots in all 4 corners. So you never seen that, and it's just, you could just put G. Wouldn't be wrong, unless you were in music theory class and the teacher really wanted you to use the F name, right? Because like I say, the triad thing, whole triad theory thing is every other letter. Well, we have 2 G's in there. If you have 2 G's in there, and the whole song is nothing but E9 chords, you're gonna, every time you want a G sharp and every time you want a G natural, you're gonna have to write 2 accidentals. But you can put an F double sharp there and put in an F note and make it F double sharp, and you won't have to write that once, at least for the bar line. So anyway, that's kind of deep baseball, inside baseball kind of crap. But when I play that, now see, I would go down to the G sharp there. Watch this. That totally works. But when I try to do, I could, maybe. But when I try to play that G sharp on the top, it's cool. But that G, or you might go, that'd be more like. So what I did there was I hit the G note, but I resolved it up to the G sharp. Okay, like we're doing, where you're hammering on that C sharp on the C natural. So basically, you play an E7 chord, open 2, open 1, open, open. You take off your first finger and hammer it on. There's so many things I touch on during our live streams that I'm like, oh, that would be good for my lesson, my school. Like, here's a concept. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you, Holly, for taking care of doing Bruce's job for him. So that's kind of what's happening when I'm going from that G natural. So I might. But I also like the sound of that G natural to the F sharp, to the E, to the D, and then back to the E, right? obvious I grew up in the disco era. I played in a disco band and in a funk band in the 70s. My high school band played a lot of disco songs. We even did a song called Push Push in the Bush. Yeah, just wrong. We had a female singer too for it. And then we did Boogie Oogie Oogie by Taste of Honey. We didn't do any Earth, Wind, and Fire songs, so we didn't have a horn section. We had the keyboard player played sax, but if you played sax, you couldn't play keys. So it was mostly for solos. But we also did stuff like Just the Way You Are by Billy Joel. What is that chord? What's the first chord of no. Yeah, you have to have the right sound though. Okay. Let's see. What would they call that? Okay, we're gonna pull up a vintage electric piano. Bright Suitcase, maybe. Classic electric piano. Classic Suitcase Mark IV. Maybe that. Classic Mark. I don't see. No. That's not the sound. Bright Suitcase? He might be down. No. That's too high. What is that? What is the chord? Something like that. This is so funny. Trying to find the right sound. Deluxe modern. Phasing bells. Wide Suitcase maybe. Oh, that's pretty. That's very 70s. It's still too low. Anyway. Yeah, we did that song. We did a bunch of the 70s, you know, kind of the classic song. I think we did Reminiscing. That was kind of by Little River Band. Kind of lame. But yeah, so the percolating. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and create a loop of this drum groove. Let me go back to... What am I doing here? What is going on? Oh well. Let me just delete that. I'm going to go back to 60 BPM, okay? All right. So I'm going to take this drum loop and I am just going to create, I could do 10 minutes of it. I just need to get to some space here where I can do that. At 60. 41, 48, that's 7 minutes. Go further. So you can have, and I'll just upload this to, wait, what? Oh, here, 40. That's good enough. All right. So So I'm going to do this. I'm going to bounce this here. I'll call it drum 16ths. Okay. Put it in our, no, I'll put a desktop here. Go YouTube, drum. It's going to take a minute. And I'll put this in the Discord. Oh shoot, I didn't. Let me take the Discord link that I posted up here and pin it. All right. So now the Discord link is pinned. I'll put this in Tom's group lessons and grooves PDFs or whatever. Sorry, Tom's lessons and PDFs. Where is that? All right, new Discord. All right. Boop, 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 boop. Here we go. All right. So you can, if you go there right now, you'll see all these grooves. So you can download those and put those on a piece of paper and make it really interesting for you. I need to put the tempo in here, okay? Because that's really important. So when it's done bouncing, and it's almost done, I'll put 60 BPM in there so that you can know that. And then I'll do one right now. I'll do one 80 and I'll do one that's 100. All right, we can do that right now, and you can have those. And those will be just totally helpful. It's just the drum groove. It's better than a click track. I mean, it's not much better than a click track. It's not interesting. It's just converting right now. All right, and you can download these. And so in the it says drum 16ths, and I'm going to put 60 BPM, and then I'm going to drag that over. Boop, ba-doop, boom, ba-doop, boom. Hopefully, it's 11 megabytes. It should be fine. I don't know why it doesn't. Oh no, I'm not. It's trying to get me to write a message. I'm like, why do I? 60 BPM. All right. There it goes. I don't know why, but it made me do a message. Okay. So let me change the tempo here to 80. And I'll give you, we'll do an 80 BPM one. Nope. Really? And I'm going to have to make it, I'll have to make it, okay, and that's a good one to practice. I'm going to make it a little longer. It's still going to be probably right around 9 minutes, something like that. 8 minutes, whatever. Okay, bounce. All right, and let me bounce this, and this will be 80 BPM. And that one's loaded. So you can play it in, it's 9 minutes and 20 seconds. That one's loaded. And so you can play that in the Discord browser, or you can download it. I don't care. It's, you know, you can write a song with it. I don't care. Give me a percentage when you register it. Because my 16th note hi-hat drum groove inspired your... Now the other thing is, I could take that... Oh, I can't right now because it's bouncing. I could take that groove and I could do an open hi-hat on each one of those 16th notes that we're accenting. Psst, psst, you know, psst, 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 psst. Someone's going to create a loop of that. Psst, 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 psst. Tom spring a leak. Oh, happy National Dog Day, by the way. I'd rather celebrate that than Father's Day. Next Monday is Labor Day. That's a great question, Bob. My son Jack will be here hanging out, and his wife and their dog, Cowboy. So if I do, you'll get to meet Cowboy. I'll bring Cowboy in on the live stream. I think you'll all love Cowboy. And then yeah, I'm planning on it. You know, the thing about Labor Day generally is, yeah, sometimes Beth and I go away, but since the kids are here this weekend, we're not going to go away. So, so, so if I remember, then we'll be here. Okay. And then I know there's a Monday coming up. I think a Veterans Day that I'll be gone. But for the most part, and Beth said we could take off. The kids would like to have the house to themselves too. It's fun, you know, because they live in an apartment down at Redondo Beach, a great area. They live in a really nice area, but they just have kind of it's a big one bedroom. It's a really big one bedroom. It's probably 800 square feet for a one bedroom, which is really big. But, you know, having a whole house to yourself, you know, is kind of fun too. So I'll decide that on Sunday. If we are out of town, I can always go live on my phone and we can chat. Sometimes I take a guitar with me. Sometimes I shoot a video when we go out of town. But at this point, I'm not planning on it. But sometimes, you know, you pull up that Hotel Tonight. Okay, sorry, I'm going to upload this to Discord. All right. 80 ppm. 80 BPM. And 80 BPM, we're getting into that range where it's probably more likely, more usable. Now I'm going to bump it to 100 BPM, and then we'll be good. 100. And I'm going to have to go longer. It's just going to end abruptly. But that's okay. 10 minutes should be enough to kind of get your groove on. So help me remember that we've done this so that next week I say, oh, if you want to practice these drum grooves. And again, these are just the drums. I should have put straight 16ths. There's no swing to this. These are literally straight 16th note grooves. And I can play it right here. I've got it here. Like here's the 80 BPM one. Right? And it's just going to do that. You're going to drive your neighbors crazy. Don't turn it up too loud. All right, we're doing good. We got 23. We've peaked at 29. Let's bring it up some more. I'll hang out longer. I'm good. We can keep talking about grooves. If you got a question, ask away. I'm always happy to answer questions. Just sometimes someone might need to flag it so I can see the question. Let's see. Holly said, I wouldn't be able to guess how many pleasant hours I've spent messing with different sounds on the keyboard. Yeah, it's, you know, to be honest, when I'm writing music for TV, I do a lot of, I'm working on the podcast, The Exorcist Files, so I would check that out if you want. I wrote a lot of music for that, me and Jim. And it's, don't be alone. Don't listen at night. It's pretty scary stuff, and I think they're turning into TV shows. So hopefully I'll get to work on it when it's a TV show. That would be phenomenal. I mean, I get paid a little bit to write music for it, but the investment is mainly to try to get it. So when it goes to, originally they had a deal to do a series on Hulu, and then COVID happened and it got canceled. And so nobody wanted to do in-person acting and all that stuff. So they went ahead and made it as a podcast. They did season 1, which I wasn't part of. But season 2 now, they even, I think, say my name at the end of the podcast. You know, thank you to Jim Covell and Tom Strahle for the music. So, yeah, but that's what Holly made me think of it. Is like the trying to find sounds thing takes forever. I mean, you're just like, fortunately, there's like, what is it? I can hit forward, loads. My computer's fast, so it loads sounds really, really fast. So, okay, hold on. I'm getting two-wheel freedom. Good to see you. Let's see. Catherine, I have a keyboard in my office. I connect to computer so I can play too. Yeah, it's super fun. You can also use these drum grooves to practice playing keyboard rhythms. I mean, you know, you should be able to do this, you know, you should be able to do this like, like, try it. Let's see. Okay, so what's fascinating about that, on my left hand I'm trying, okay, I'm not a piano player. On my left, I'm playing quarter notes. 3, 4, 1. And now on my right hand, I'm playing basically kind of an E9 chord. And I'm playing that rhythm, right? What song is that making me think of? And I know the because I'm pounding so hard, the camera is moving. It totally reminds me. Is it Rocket Man? No, it's not Earth, Elton John. It's some Elton John song. Okay, Whitney, don't go changing my husband. Oh, I love that song. Yeah, that was totally. Don't go changing was totally like how many high schools had it their theme. Okay, Tom, how true is it when they say you can play most jazz standards using all seventh chords? Pretty darn true if you add in minor 7th flat 5, okay? So I'm going to show you, two wheel, this is a good question. I'm going to show you, we'll do 4 7th chord, yeah, maybe 5, but 4 C7 chords, okay? So C major 7, again, I'm going to do Alt J, C, Alt J 7, makes the triangle. That's going to be X, 2, 5, 4, 5, 3. I'm sorry, not 2, 3, okay? All right? And you can actually think more like this, kind of think the middle 4 strings. There's C major 7, so that's, again, the thing I love about this, and particularly about guitar, is that, sorry, I'm just getting my windows reorganized. This is, when you learn this chord, because there's no open strings, you just learn 12 chords. C major 7, C sharp major 7, D major 7, E flat major 7, or D sharp major 7, E major 7, nose itches, F major 7, F sharp major 7, G major 7, G sharp or A flat major 7, right? Such a great chord. Okay. Now, if we take that third string note down a fret, we end up with C dominant 7th, or just C7. All right? I'm just going to do the 4-string version of it, okay? C7, X, 3, 5, 3, 5, X. All right? And this is a dominant 7th. So anytime you see a dominant 7th, it's G7. Now you're probably not going to want, you're going to want to learn more 7th chords in this, because otherwise, if it's a 2-5-1 progression, say G minor 7, you don't want to be jumping around like that. You want to be, or something, you know, you want to kind of stay in the same neighborhood. Ultimately, the goal would be able to play complex songs without ever leaving a certain fret range. That means you've got a pretty good concept of your fretboard, and you know, like you can start here and like play giant steps just using chords here. You know, was it B major 7? Try to, you know, I could even stay in a narrower range if I wanted to, but you can do jazz songs like that, and giant steps you can play with just 7th chords. Okay, then a minor 7th would be played like that. So C minor 7 would be this. C minor 7 would be X, 3, 5, 3, 4, X. All right, and that's C minor 7. And then a chord that you want to have in your hip pocket, but you may not be, you could do 10 jazz standards in a row and not be asked to do a minor 7 flat 5. But basically taking the the C minor 7 and taking that fourth string note, the fifth, down to a flat 5. So you end up with a C, a G flat, a B flat, and an E flat. So it's actually, you've got the minor third, you've got the dominant 7th, and you've got a flat 5. And that's C minor 7 flat 5. Some people call it a C half diminished 7th, but I just like C minor 7 flat 5. It's a little bit of a handful to write out, but it's a pretty easy chord to play. I'll tell you a secret about that chord too, and that would be X, X. All right. Now, a secret about that chord is that that's a common voicing for a ninth chord. And the way you find it is, here's the root here, that A flat. So C minor 7 flat 5 is also kind of like an A9 chord, A flat 9 chord. Check this out. Okay, so if I go up, so that's A, right? If I go up to E and play this, so I'm really playing a G sharp minor 7 flat 5. So here's C minor 7 flat 5, D minor 7 flat 5, E minor 7 flat 5, F minor 7 flat 5, G minor 7 flat 5, G sharp minor 7 flat 5, and add that E, that's an E9 chord. Well, check this out. Listen to these 4 notes, and listen to these 4 notes. That E9 chord that we've been playing this last few weeks is also a G sharp minor 7 flat 5. Just so you know, it was hiding in there. Yes, this is a 1954 Telecaster reissue. I wish it were a 50, an actual 50s. Yeah, it's a Japanese, which it means it's pretty solidly. I mean, they get all the details right now. The 4-bolt. I don't know, but I may not. I think it was 4-bolt back then. But I've changed it a little bit. I've got a 4-position switch. I've got to tell my guitar tech. This sound is more of a kind of Strahle out of phase sound. Or almost more of a neck pickup. There's the neck pickup. Kind of like that. I kind of like all of the settings of the positions on this. Norik Renson was the guitar tech that did that. So I don't know. I don't even remember if he asked me if he could. I think he just did it. If it had been a legitimate vintage, 54 Telecaster, I would have been mad. Do I know how many likes I have? 21 likes. Currently have 24 viewers. All right. So, yeah. So hopefully, where did he go? Did he just ask a question and leave? Yo, bro. Two-wheel freedom. It's a good question though. Yeah. So but with those 4, a major 7th, a dominant 7th, a minor 7th, and a minor 7 flat 5. With those 4 chords, you can play a lot of standards. It was just. That's where that flat 5. Like it right. Minor. Then it goes to major. Whatever it goes to there. Oh, it jumped to 27 likes. Well, that's awesome. Was that helpful? The answer is basically yes. But I'll tell you another couple chords you're probably going to want to start to learn some voicings of is a dominant with a flat 5 and a dominant with a sharp 5 or an augmented chord, okay? And with this, like, you could do that. Like, here's a C7, okay, right? 5, I'm sorry, 3, 5, 3, 5. You can take that 5 down there. It's okay, or take the 5 up. It's not bad. It's just not, that one's okay. And this one's a tough grab. You could do it up here. Again, but if you're strumming, you don't want to have the 5 and the sharp 5 in the same chord. So you kind of have to, if I'm using my fingers, I can do whatever. I don't know what I'm doing. That's what it was. That augmented chord will come in handy, the sharp 5 chord. The voicing I tend to like is going to be based on the root, so like a G, like that, or C5 would, C augmented would be C, C7 sharp 5 would be this. So I'm playing, so if I need that, I would probably go here for the first, like if I'm on the fly and I need it really fast. One thing you might want to do is I've got some videos, a whole bunch of videos on drop 2 chords. So if you enter in YouTube Strahle and drop 2, I think I did like 40 videos on it, and they're old videos, but they're really valuable for playing jazz, knowing your drop 2 chords. And a drop 2 chord, so on piano, like you can play a C7 like this, C, E, G, B flat. Well, on guitar that's okay, not bad. It's not impossible. It's just not the normal guitar voicing. And it's hard to grab that on the fly. You know, it's like, oh, wait, no, here. So it's hard to grab that on the fly. And if I take that voicing and I just go, I take that C down for up an octave here, I end up with this one. I'm like, all right, well, that's E, G, B flat, C. Okay, well, that's, so E, G, B flat, C. Okay, that's really not very grabbable. Okay, so let's see, what? Oh. So if we take the second note from the top, okay, down an octave to there, and then find these here, we end up with this chord. Totally playable. See that? And that's why it's called drop 2 chord. We take the second note from the top, drop it down an octave, drop number 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not, the 2 doesn't refer to a tone or anything like that. It just refers to the position here. And if I drop that down, and then I can put this E here and this G here, and now I end up with this very simple chord. So I can play, these are all drop 2 chords, okay? Super duper handy. You don't need the root, unless you're playing by yourself. You got a bass player. You don't need the root and the bass. So these voicings are super easy. And then what you want to do is you want to learn which notes are which. Okay, so like if I know that this is the 5, I can go, oh, well, sharp 5 would be this, or flat 5 would be this. If I know that this is the 5, sharp 5 is this, flat 5 is this. I know that this note is the 5. It changes on every voicing. Here's flat 5. Here's sharp 5. Very all usable. And then here, let's see this one. So I know in this voicing, which looks like a D7 chord, okay, that C7, there's the 5th, because you learn it. There's sharp 5. There's a flat 5. That's a great dominant 7 flat 5, and I got the 9 right here too. So if what did I see? Watched a video where Robin Ford was talking about diminished scales, how to use diminished scales. So Yeah, so I would watch this video, and so basically, there's drop two chords on all four groupings of strings. So like all of these C7 voicings, it's a lot to learn. They're also in the middle here. You can learn them all here. And again, if I know where the 5 is, I know how to make a flat 5. And they're all pretty easy to play. They're a lot easier than trying to play those non-drop 2 chords. And then I can do it on the bottom. And I don't use these very often, but let's see. So there's 1, and the 5 is on the bottom. Okay. The reason I don't use the bottom 4 string drop 2 chords very often is because when you're getting that low, you are defining the bass note. And so if I put the 5 in the bass, what chord is that? It doesn't really sound like a C7 chord. The next voicing would be, boy, it's been a while since I've done these. Is that it? 7, yep, that. And then this one, you know. And then the last one is this one. And the 5th is here, so I can go sharper. And what you can do, a great exercise, I mean, you could do it with, like, you know, this one. I've been meaning to do a video of these. Great little exercise where you take the drop, the 5, and drop, flat it, and sharp it, and go back and forth. Those are really, really good finger independence exercise. And then here. But that gives you a way to learn all the sharp 5s and the flat 5s, okay? I'm going to make a note. That's a good video thing. Let's see. Gotta find a piece of paper to write down on. Because I could start a new series. Actually, it would be really easy to do it. Well, no, I'm gonna have to create 1,000,000 diagrams. Dang it. Theory plus exercise. So yeah, C7, C7 sharp 5, C7, C7 flat 5, etc. I could do shorts though. I could do shorts of these, but it's a great way of starting to have an exercise that works on finger independence, and at the same time learning a little bit of music theory and learning something that can be usable. And that sharp 5, flat 5 thing, I actually played. You know, I hate doing musicals. So the thing I hate about musicals is that it's the same music every night. I get too bored playing the same freaking music every single night. I've done these shows, nothing really long, like months. Done like, well, one was months, but I did. But that was different because they were changing the music every night through rehearsals. Everything was different. We didn't. It failed big time. Sadly, it shouldn't have, but it did. And I don't think I would have gone to New York and done the national show or anything like that. I wouldn't have done it. But the composer was a friend of mine, and I'd been playing on it for 20 years. I've been playing on all the iterations of it. It was called Pilgrim. It was based on Pilgrim's Progress. And he even got a couple $1 million from the Queen of England to produce this thing. And it looked great, but he made some errors in judgment on hiring people, and it jacked everything up. He hired people that didn't want to capture his vision. They had their own vision that didn't have any right to even have a say. But he got caught up in that, and it ended up becoming a giant failure. But I got paid. But I've done, like, a couple times I've done high school like music, not like the TV show High School Music, but like a musical at a high school or something. And it's just sitting there doing the same music every night. It's just a bore. And some of the music's really hard, so you're sweating because, it's a solo and you got to do something. Well, one of them that I subbed on was a Vita. And subbing is worse because if it's a hard musical and I'm subbing for 2 nights, maybe making $100 a night for $200, I get the copy of the book, and I'm working it for days. I probably made $1 an hour for my time. And it's just the way our business. That's how it is with music. I get paid. People might say you get paid a lot of money. I get paid money because you're paying me for the 60 years I've been doing this, or however long it's been. Not 60 years, not that. But I've been playing professionally since I was 15. I'm 63, so you do the math. What's that? 48 years? Almost 50 years I've been professionally playing guitar. And all of the stuff I've learned along the way that I share with you guys and when I say guys, I mean the non-binary use of the word. I mean guys and gals. When I say guys, I mean guys and gals. I know Holly knows that. I know Holly doesn't get offended by that. So I'm not worried about Holly. Holly's definitely one of the guys. Sheila Gonzalez at my church is totally one of the guys. She tours with Dweezil Zappa, and she's the only girl, and she's like, I am so one of the guys. Yeah, about 5 cents an hour. Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm getting paid for. And yeah, that was something good exercise. A good. I could do shorts, maybe. I could do some. Do YouTube Shorts make any money? Let me ask YouTube. Let's see. Do YouTube Shorts make money? Or how do they make money? Because I've never seen an ad on a YouTube Shorts. Yes, it's possible to monetize regular long-form videos for more than 15 years now. And that time comes blah, blah, blah. Yes, you earn from Shorts. Yes, you can now become eligible with the YouTube Partner Program. With Shorts, you can gain eligibility by gaining... Okay, well, so maybe I'll try to do a short. It'd be weird, but I can edit it. I'm going to want to have, I could use, I could just use number tab. I don't need to necessarily do the write out the tab, but it's not that hard to make the actual tab notifications. Well, John, you make a living being a dentist. I could have never gotten through the schooling that you went through. I couldn't have done it. I kind of just explained why. I can teach myself anything, but they won't let you do that in dental school. Can you just let me work on that person over there until I figure it out? Can I take them apart and put them back together again? They won't let you do that. And see, that's kind of how I learned to do everything I learned to do, is some imitation. But it's, and talent, was I born with it? No, I was born with tenacity. See, I think some people are born with talent. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think I'm one of them. I think I just wanted it a lot, and then was blessed to have the tenacity to keep at it. Secondly, I think the more you do it professionally, the more confident and the more skills you're going to get. That's kind of an obvious statement, a stupid statement. But there's a confidence that comes from getting paid to do it. And so that, it kind of feeds on itself. And so and yet when I go to a session for the first time working with a new composer, I'm nervous as heck. Because I'm like, I have imposter syndrome. And then I get a guitar in my hand and I'm 100% fine. It's the weirdest thing. I'm never nervous at church or here at home or anything like that. Sometimes I think I'm not going to get all the work done, or I can't get the feel right, or I can't get a good sound. That's different. But yeah, I'm not too worried about messing up for the most part. But in fact, messing up, it can be a good thing. I think you almost, it depends on the scenario. If you're sight reading music and you're working on a TV show or a movie or something, and they got to get through a lot of music, don't mess up. But if you're working on a record, taking chances and hitting a weird note and going, oh wait, and that's why I think AI will never really ever succeed musically, because AI, you can program AI. You've been able to program since the 80s. You've been able to program AI to make mistakes. And you're like, wait a minute, AI wasn't around in the 80s. Well, drum machines were, and they have this button on it called Humanize. And you turn it, you turn it, and they turn it all the way, and it's like, and I'm like, well, that's an insult to humans. But it's just wrong. It's like, it's all, I mean, let me see if I can see what happens if I drop in a beat here. Let me do this. Let's see, what are we? Tempo 100. Okay, let me drop in a beat and see if I think drummer has a Humanize. What is this? Okay, let me just solo this. Okay, so is there a Humanize? Well, they don't really call it Humanize anymore. They have feel. You can push and pull. You can add ghost notes. Yeah. But for years, drum machines and drums things had a thing called Humanize. Well, okay, so I can program AI to make mistakes, right? Here's what AI can't get. And I've said this to you before, and it's not just being self-deprecating. I'm not just being self-deprecating here. This is another thing that you need to learn if you want to be a professional artist or musician or painter or graphic artist or a writer or whatever. You need to set yourself up to make mistakes. 99% of anything I've ever done that was cool was an accident. And that's the thing. You can program AI to create accidents. You can't get AI to recognize an accident as genius. That can never be done. I really don't think you can't iterate. Yeah. Yep. And that's right. And AI doesn't want to make mistakes. They're trying to get it right. And it's like the smart kid that wants to get all the answers right. And it's like, that's great in history class and in English class, and you got to, and they get 100 on every test. Phenomenal. That's great. However, when you're in the creative space, it's that setting yourself up for failure, intentional failure. Here's one of the things: when I'm goofing around or writing, I'm often recording. If I'm sitting down to write something, I have record on, and I'm like, okay, so here's a beat. All right, that's a completely uninspiring beat. The one I'm making you jam to. Did I upload the 100 one, by the way? Did I get? No, I didn't. Okay, hold on. Somebody didn't tell me. All right. 100 BPM. There we go. Okay, so you got 3 of them up there now. This is the 100 one. Let me maybe go back to 80. Well, that's fine. I'll do whatever. 100 is fast. 100 is too fast for me. Not for me, but you know what I mean. Sorry. There we go. Got the windows in order. So. I'll just jam for 20 minutes on something, and then and kind of work to develop something just kind of fish around. I'm fishing, I'm hunting, I'm trying to find something I haven't done before. I'm I'm just thinking B minor. I was like, okay, your fourths, fifths, with thirds. Until I stumble on something that's like, whoa, wait a minute, what did I do? It's recorded. So I can go back and listen to it and go, oh, that's cool. Let me develop that a little bit. And I'll create a new track, keep everything I did, just mute it, create a new track, start recording again to the groove that usually is a lot more inspiring than that. But that's how I've written a lot of the stuff that I've done. And it's often how I write a lot of TV music. I'll create kind of a thing, maybe string pad or something, and I'll kind of fish around for notes on strings, or I'll create a groove or some kind of, there might be some kind of program that, like, I love Damage drums, and there's some really cool, like, holy crap, what was that? I can pull up Damage. Let's see, what's this? What's this? Okay, that's a Rhodes. I can get rid of that. Well, no, I better not. I'll just duplicate. And then, okay, now I'll remove this and put Damage in here. And so you can see what I'm talking about. We're like, where's Damage? Billions and billions of, here it is. Okay, so this is, I'll just do old school Damage. Okay, so I've got ethnic drums, I've got metals, hybrid effects, Damage kits, percussion kits, rhythmic suites. Okay, loop menus. All right, so like here's Epic Tech full. Literally, I'm going to hit one button. It's cool as heck. I can hit I'm hitting 4 notes. And so that's where, it's like, wow, that's doing it for you. No, the problem is that I wish it were doing it for me. How cool is that? And I can mess it up too. There's ways to destruct it. I can add distortion to it. I can add filters. So yeah, and this stuff is used all the time. That's called Damage, and it's for Contact Player, which is a plugin. Contact, Kontakt. But that's inspiring. I can write to that, and then a lot of times, and I all of those elements are in here individually. So if I want to create something using those sounds, I can totally do it. But these are just loops that are pre-made. And I hear them all the time on TV. I hear them all the time. Not so much in movies. In movies, they would record it. They would actually have real people playing it. But yeah, also mistakes are needed to get the best solution. It's exactly right, Richard. It's like, I mean, that's even true just in so much things, but anything particularly creative, and you want to create something new. Oh, was it fun today? I know I should probably get going. It's 11 o'clock. But so yeah, so that's kind of, if I had that beat, get rid of this lame drum thing here and go here. I think it's like a 4-bar phrase. So now I can just loop that. So it's like a 4-bar phrase. But to me, oops. Why did it? There. So if I had something like I mean, I would just be messing around until I found a cool riff, if it was for some kind of heavy scene or something. Until I found something, I went, okay, that's cool. But I probably wouldn't play a loop over that. I would probably play, and then the thing is, I can duplicate that, you know. It's so much you can do. Yeah, you don't want to know my IQ. You don't want to know. Yeah, I got tested a lot when I was a little kid. Not, not because I was having problems. Well, yeah, I was having problems in school. I just wasn't a good student, and they did IQ tests, and they came up with the opposite conclusion that they thought, which we all know now. You know, we've known this for how long? I mean, and I'm not. I don't want to say I'm a genius. I'm not a genius. But it wasn't what they thought, I'll say. And that was when I was young. I was in grade school, so I don't know what it is now. It's like, I think it changes, definitely. But I think Alex is the same. But Jack and, but all my kids are super smart. Beth is super smart. So I always think they got it from her, but she thinks they got it from me. It's like, that's how we roll. So, okay. I got to get to work. I've got things I do have to do, and I will, car chasing, totally car chasing. Yeah, or like, for video games, like a monster kind of shows up and there's a fight, you're kind of fighting a big monster or something. I can totally see that. Yeah, get in trouble for telling teachers they were wrong. Yeah. I don't know that I would do that. It was more I was daydreaming or something, or when I got to high school, it was cool because they knew I was talented at guitar. And so during study hall, instead of having to sit in a room with a bunch of kids working on homework, they let me go to the music wing and practice guitar. So I had my guitar with me every day in school. In fact, that's how I got my first teaching gig. Was one of the teachers saw me with a guitar and said, "Do you teach guitar lessons?" I go, she goes, "I'll pay you $15 to teach my son a guitar lesson." I went, okay. That was like a fortune. So she came and picked me up and took me to their house. I taught their kid guitar lessons. She took me home. It didn't last very long. It was the first time I ever taught, so I probably didn't know what the heck I was doing. But I ultimately got a teaching job at the school, at the studio that I was taking lessons from. And they offered me a job, and I took it. Because I'd kind of learned everything everybody could teach me there. So, and I had students that were really good. My students, I had some students that were freaking monsters. And I always wonder what happened to them. But anyway, all right. I'll I'll talk to you all later. God bless you all. Thank you for watching. Yeah, next Monday's a holiday, but I'm planning on being here. If I'm not, it's because Beth and I maybe took off, and I got a really good deal at Hotel Tonight or something like that. So I'll let you know. But God bless you all. Thank you so much.